got to chat a little bit about Portland Thorns and their season and their NWSL championship run. This team making it back to the NWSL championship for the first time since 2018, lifting the trophy for the first time since 2017, and earning their third ever NWSL championship title. What a season!
What a season for Portland Thorns. We had to highlight them because this is a club that had a brand new head coach in Ryan Wilkinson, first time in the league, first time with Portland as a coach after they said goodbye to Mark Parsons, a coach that had left a legacy at this club. And then they go on this incredible run. We saw the return of Crystal Dunn with Portland Thorns. We saw players like Yasmin Ryan stepping up and taking on new roles. Olivia Moultrie with this club being one of the youngest to score and break records there. I mean, it was almost like a storybook season and ending for Portland Thorns throughout the entirety of 2022, because we talk about Alex Morgan and the incredible year she had. You have to look at someone like Sophia Smith in that sense as well, because being on Portland and what she was able to do with Becky Sauerbrunn and Megan Klingenberg and Christine Sinclair up top, overall, this club was just tremendous to watch. And despite some of the hardships that Portland went through off the pitch with their ownership, with their CEOs in the front office, as soon as they crossed the white line and they were playing soccer, it changed for them. They were electric. They were fun to watch. And for them to lift the trophy for the third time, for the first time since 2017, being back in the final, and then just dominating that NWSL championship. We can't forget that. They came out and it was the Sophia Smith show. She just went on a tear and went on a run. Like, it was so fun to watch. We're smiling, talk about Alex Morgan. Now we transition to Portland Thorns, Sophia Smith, and we're just smiling ear to ear. You have to.
There's so many players that we can look back at 2022 and sort of look at and say, like, this player had this type of breakout season, or this player had like this type of comeback season. And I think when you look at Sophia Smith from the beginning of 2022 all the way to its end, every single month you're looking at this player and you're going, there is an MVP caliber storyline that is developing here with Sophia Smith. That I don't think that ever left that player's narrative throughout 2022. And she, closing it out as league MVP, as championship finals MVP, 14 regular season goals, just one short of tying Alex Morgan and having it come down to assists, for the tiebreaker. But 15 goals overall, because scoring that goal in the championship final, hitting the shrug celebration, just like absolute legendary stuff. Like the stuff that we're going to actually look back on again and say that this was just the beginning for Sophia Smith. And I think for me, that was one of the biggest takeaways out of 2022 as well. That it was an incredibly special year for Sophia Smith, both for club and country. But for me, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, is that it's actually just the beginning.
It is 100% just the beginning for the 22-year-old to have this type of breakout season, dual MVP. And for those that missed it, we did a big, giant U.S. women's national team year in review as well, where we spent a significant portion of that episode talking about a player like Sophia Smith, because for club and for country, she had a breakout year. And at 22 years old, if this is the type of performances and the type of consistency we're getting from Sophia Smith, just imagine what we'll get when has 4 years being a professional, 4 years on the national team, 5 years. In the next 5 years for Sophia Smith, we are going to see this player grow and develop and continue to move that bar higher and higher. And for me, that is so exciting to know that we don't even know the ceiling of a player like Smith. We don't even know her focus, her commitment, her dedication, her professionalism. Her teammates talk about it. The coaches that she has and had in the past all talk about Sophia Smith and her dedication, her professionalism to want to be the best player in the world. And when you see her perform the way she did with Portland, with the United States in 2022, you know that she has a very high ceiling.
Oh, absolutely. She's out there playing with like a level of confidence, that you see from players who are like 10 years older than her. So it's very exciting time. It was incredibly special to witness, cover, analyze, critique, talk about, with attacking third. And now we're looking ahead to 2023, and we can't wait to see what's next for Sophia Smith. But while she was like continuing her to build on her very, very early legacy, she was, delivering some L's, unfortunately, to the opposition. Kansas City Current on the losing end of this NWSL championship final. Let's talk about that a little bit, though. This franchise and their journey to this point, again, another one of those things that I don't think anybody predicted going into the 2022 season. We're talking about a Kansas City side that entered NWSL in 2021 as an expansion side, absorbing a Utah Royals franchise that was undergoing a sale with the previous owner, and entering into NWSL under a temporary crest, a temporary logo, just temporary name. And then 2022, really bringing it on. They unveiled that their KC Current had their official crest. We heard about all these amazing facilities that they were putting together for their players, whether it was the construction of state-of-the-art training facilities, or their soon to arrive NWSL specific soccer stadium that's slated to arrive sometime in 2024. But in the meantime, playing their games at Children's Mercy Park, so making the move from a baseball field to a fully professionalized pitch, and making some off-season moves. We were a little curious how that was going to look, because they kind of rang in their off-season last year, signing Sam Mewis, signing Lynn Williams. We're like, okay, maybe Kansas City might go and do some things here. We predicted them in our early rankings as a top 5 finish.
Top 5, yeah.
And they ended up going all the way to a championship final.
It was such a Cinderella year for Kansas City, because in their first year in 2021, they didn't even have a name. They didn't even have a crest or colors until the final games of the regular season in 2021. And they finished dead last of the league. And like kind of a pitiful dead last, because they weren't able to pick up wins. They did go on a bit of a tear at the end where they were just taking points off of other teams, but the complete turnaround for the 2022 season was exactly what this club needed and what the league needed, because they got a new head coach in Matt Potter. They drafted some incredible rookies, which we will talk about. They had a confidence in the players that they had, whether it's AD Franch in goal, Kristen Hamilton up top, Lola Bonta in the midfield. And then they traded for some incredible players, right? They had players on the pitch, Cece Kaiser up top with Kristen Hamilton. They filled the holes that were absences by Sam Mewis and Lynn Williams getting injured. So for this Kansas City side, they then go on to make it this far in the playoffs by defeating Shield winners OL Reign, and getting 2 goals over them, getting a shutout. This was a team that just had so much belief in themselves that they were really fun to watch. So many people started cheering for Kansas City in 2022 because they just wanted to see them win. They just loved the celebrations from Lola Bonta and the young team, and how they were just going out there having fun, right? Going out, having fun, and to make it all the way to the championship after finishing in dead last the year before speaks to a lot of, I think, what the club is doing off the field in their ownerships, and developing a culture of a winning mentality, and saying that you're professionals. You're going to get your brand new stadium, your own training facility, your own stadium. You're going to have the support of the city behind you, because that city turned teal before the championship in support of these players. And it was just really fun to watch them go all the way to the championship. And of course, a little bittersweet for them to end up losing at the end of it. But it was incredible to watch this Kansas City side this year.
Kansas City surprising a lot of folks, I think, maybe not us. But I think with the moves that they made last year, they're also continuing to make some moves this year in the off season. And I'm hopeful that they'll have another successful run in 2023. We'll keep an eye on it for sure. But you know what? We got to close out with the rookies in 2022. I think that was another really, really big storyline in the NWSL 2022 season. We could just rattle off a ton of names, and they're all from different clubs. Sam Coffey, Naomi Girma, Alex Loera, Diana Ordonez, Savannah DeMello, Jalen Howell, Amira Ali, Michaela Clough, Olivia Vanderjagt, Kelsey Turnbull, Caroline, Jill Aguilera, Ava Cook, Sarah Griffin. It just goes on and on and on and on, right? I mean, my goodness, we're talking about like a Red Stars team that fielded like, 6, 7 rookies at one point. So many different first year players getting a lot of time. Naomi Girma, my God, going on the run that she did, her performance earning her rookie and best defender. Just incredible class this year.
This was such an incredible class. And even when you look at some of the players that got drafted, Alex Loera was a late round draft pick last year and a huge pickup for Kansas City. I think so many questions were asked of this rookie class in 2022 because of it being a landmark year with the CBA, being in the 10th year in the NWSL. A lot of questions were asked of these players to kind of step in and help their team contribute from day one. And so often we don't see that being asked of rookies. They're off the bench players. Of course, you get the superstars that come in and start every game, but this was a draft class that was so incredibly talented, and they contributed on the pitch every single day. I mean, you look at someone like Girma, of course, who was rookie of the year, and she goes on with San Diego under Alex Morgan to do so many great things. But even someone like Michaela Clough at Orlando that got a lot of consistent minutes on a team that faced a lot of injuries, a lot of heartache, a lot of losing their coach early in the season, having to get an intern coach stepping into there. And this is a player that had so many things thrown at them and still continued to perform on the pitch every single day. I loved this rookie class. I really did, because of all the talent we got to see. Remember the run that Savannah DeMello and Jalen Howell went on with Racing Louisville in the middle of the season? They were just getting assists, getting goals for one another. They were combining so well. They looked like they were having so much fun. And I love to see that, especially from rookies that do have a lot of pressure on themselves. I mean, Diana Ordonez, she ends up going on this incredible offensive run for North Carolina, scoring all these goals in back-to-back games, getting braces, and just the records that she continued to break throughout this year. It was one of the best NWSL rookie classes that I think we have seen in a really long time, and that we might see in a while.
100%. Mic drop.